Because I'm in the market for a new car, tragically, unfortunately, I've been really paying attention to all the cars on the road because I'm not really sure what I want. And because of this, I'm also catching a lot of people's vanity license plates because I'm paying so much attention. And it's made me sort of go on this soul-searching journey of if I were to get a vanity license plate, you know, like a custom plate that you have 7 letters, I guess 7 characters, what would you have? Because I can't think of anything that I really want that badly. I'm going to say something to preface this. I never want actually to have one in real life because I don't want to be identifiable in any way.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. But what would you have?
2 of my favorite that I've ever seen. One was just the word wheat.
Wheat.
I don't know why. It was on like an SUV and I saw this forever ago and I will always remember it because I was just like, okay. My other favorite that I ever saw was Bahaha.
That is good. One of my favorites, and it's a vehicle here in Edmonton. And if you're an Edmontonian and you've seen this vehicle, please let me know. It's an all purple, jacked up Ford, I like F-250, I think. And the license plate is Grimace.
I love it.
Like Grmace.
I love that so much.
And I just thought, who loves Grimace from McDonald's? The McDonald's mascot Grimace, the strange purple blob, loves him that much that you put your entire vehicle's aesthetic around that.
We have a lot of like character drivers in Edmonton.
We do.
We have, those of you who don't live here, we have a guy who drives an Avatar truck.
And is completely tattooed Avatar themed.
Head to toe.
Head to toe. And I believe his wife is also quite heavily tattooed in the Avatar theme as well.
Oh, good for them.
I believe so. I could be wrong about that, so do correct me. But
I kind of hope so, because there's a shoe for every foot.
Absolutely. Also, again, because I've been in the market shopping for new cars, one of the makes I'm looking at is Subaru. And it reminded me ages and ages ago when I was at a previous job, when I would drive to work in the morning, I would often see this Subaru Impreza, and it was blue with gold rims. And in massive letters on the windshield, it said Subi Flow. And I remember my friend also drove a Subaru Impreza that was like the same year, and she loved that car. And she's like, "Oh my God, you've seen Subi Flow too?" And I was like, "Yeah, I see him all the time."
I love that. I absolutely love that.
But
I don't know. Honestly, I don't think I could commit to something like that.
No.
I just can't.
And I wouldn't want my name because, again, that's kind of identifiable. But there's also like nothing important enough or like goofy enough that I could think of fitting into 7 characters.
I know someone she had, and she changed it since because she regretted this. It was her Instagram handle.
Oh.
And she wasn't the best driver.
Oh, see, that's why I'm not the best driver, but I'm certainly not the worst driver.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like or even if, you know, you accidentally cut someone off in traffic, you don't want them like following you around or like noticing you at the grocery store and like confronting you or something.
No. And you know what? I think that's very much like a true crime brain right there, because you know what can happen.
Absolutely. And to that degree as well, it's also something that stopped me from putting stickers on my car as well.
That's fair.
Because I've thought like we have our Grim Curriculum merch. I design our stickers. And I was like, I kind of want to slap one of those on the back of my car. But then again, I don't want to be identifiable. So
enough of us could just do it. And then there could be drivers everywhere with our stickers. And we'll just know how cool we are.
Hey, if enough of you out there do it and send me pictures, maybe I'll do it on my brand new whatever I get.
I know someone has a Grim Curriculum sticker on their Vespa.
I love that.
Which just makes me really happy because I love Vespas.
If we were in a city more, I don't know, tolerable to that type of vehicle, I would totally have a Vespa.
Oh, I'm going to have one one day. I will drive
totally
those like 3 months that I can drive it. I will drive the hell out of it.
Exactly.
I love a Vespa.
Anywho, none of that is to do with anything I think we're talking about today, but
that's all right.
We'll get into it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dina.
And I'm Charlotte.
Welcome to the Grim Curriculum Extra Credits.
Welcome, welcome.
You know, something that a lot of people ask is, what is our generation's obsession with true crime?
It's a question we hear a lot, obviously.
My first story today is going to show that this obsession goes way, way, way back to the tune of 2,000 years ago.
Whoa, way back in the Wayback Machine.
Researchers have very recently deciphered a 2,000-year-old true crime papyrus.
Amazing. Amazing. Because I'm assuming when you say papyrus, are we talking Egypt?
Yes.
Okay. So love that. True crime and Egyptology coming together.
Now, I say recently, this was about 11 years ago.
No, fair enough.
But still.
Recently in comparison to 2,000 years ago.
So a researcher from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem rediscovered an ancient papyrus while organizing a storeroom in their Antiquities Authority's Dead Sea Scrolls unit, which, how freaking cool is that?
I would love an hour just to walk around there.
It had been originally classified as an ancient Aramaic language, but a papyrus expert by the name of Hannah Cotton thought otherwise.
Okay.
When she saw it marked Nabatean, she exclaimed, "It's Greek."
Oh.
She's like, "This is definitely Greek." So her and a team of experts spent the next decade deciphering 133 lines, and their findings were published. It turns out it is the longest Greek papyrus ever found in the Judean desert.
Amazing.
And its newly translated content is quite unique.
Okay, I am ready to hear.
It was a Roman lawyer's detailed notes about the trial of two men who were accused in a tax fraud scheme.
That's so funny. Because it's not even murder or anything particularly crazy. It's tax fraud. I mean, hey, though, tax fraud is what got Al Capone. So
exactly. It'll get you. So it was written after Roman Emperor Hadrian's visit to Judea around 130 CE. And it details Rome's case against two individuals by the name of Gadalaeus and Saulos.
Okay.
They were accused of forging documentation about selling and freeing slaves to bypass paying Roman taxes.
Oh, so it's not even like in a... At first I was like, hell yeah, guys, free the slaves.
Nope.
No, they're just fucking capitalists.
Yeah. They said it was written in what they called vibrant and direct language by a strategizing prosecutor.
Wow.
Who advised another lawyer about pieces of evidence and anticipating objections. And it also contains a rapidly drafted transcript of the hearing itself.
Amazing.
And the cool thing about this is this was one of the first times that they kind of got an insight into what trial preparations looked like during the Roman Empire.
That's so cool.
They do know that significant portions of it are missing. So they don't really know what came of these two men.
Okay.
But they do know that there was an informer who denounced the defendants to the Roman authorities.
We have a snitch on our hands.
Yes. It's honestly, it's really cool because it shows just what the government's reach was towards these people. And they completely regulated all of their private transactions, even in the most remote regions of their empire.
Amazing.
So it's one of those things where we're learning more about what people used to be like. Mm-hmm. And we're also seeing that, you know, the human mind was still the human mind back then.
Oh, yeah. Just because technology has changed, societally, not a lot has.
No, not at all. And especially not how we react to things and how we seek out certain forms of entertainment and things like that.
100%. I mean, scandal was scandal, whether it's 2025 BC or 80 or CE. People are... I actually had someone ask me, like, you know, what was the maybe we even talked about it because we were talking about the 1920s very recently. Mm-hmm. Is that like, what would the 1920s version of, video games causes violence, you know, that kind of thing?
Well, even with Clara Phillips, one of the things that they said was, we're giving women too much freedom and now they're killing each other.
Exactly. So there's always going to be some way to spin it. And as much as newspapers as we know them haven't been a thing, you know, obviously they came around with the time of the printing press and things like that. But there was always sort of the media in some form, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
People love a good scandal. They love a good story.
They do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a short little tidbit I just wanted to share, but I found it and I thought it was so cool. I thought you would love it.
Yeah.
And yeah, true crime has always fascinated us. regardless of what level of crime it was or what kind of crime it was.
Well, speaking of a level of crime that I didn't quite know existed, I'm going to actually do things a little bit backwards. I'm going to show you the fellow in question.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind that this is a ocean-related crime. What do we think his crime was?
Let's show him to the camera for those of you watching on Patreon.
So I'll tell you his name. His name is Scott Steer. He is from British Columbia.
Okay.
And he has a history of this particular crime. This is not the first time he's done it. This is a very recent crime. It's being reported on as of January 13th, 2025.
Oh.
But yes, this is not the first time he has been caught by this crime, this ocean-related crime.
I'm going to say he's kidnapping marine life.
You're not far off.
Okay.
Well, it's not kidnapping, unfortunately, but it is poaching.
Oh.
But he's poaching sea cucumbers.
Oh.
Which I didn't really know. I know what a sea cucumber is. I play Stardew Valley. I have fished a few in my time. But I didn't know that they were particularly worth poaching. But it turns out they're very valuable. And so Scott here, he has been found guilty of harvesting and illegally selling a lot of these sea cucumbers. Apparently, they're a delicacy in quite a few countries.
I was going to ask if it was to be food or to be pets.
To be food, unfortunately, for the sea cucumbers. So he was found guilty of 6 counts this time around, but he was breaching court prohibitions against possessing or acquiring fishing gear from previous convictions. Ooh. So he wasn't supposed to even have any kind of fishing gear because of this. His wife, Melissa, is also heavily involved in this scheme. She was also found guilty of illegally selling the sea cucumbers in question. In his judgment, BC Supreme Court Justice David Carrar said the numbered company was a sham created to evade fishing prohibitions. Obviously, there's fishing law.
Yeah.
Wherever there's industry or human beings, there's laws regarding it. According to court documents, Steer was arrested in early March 2020 at North Vancouver shipyards after crew passing on a sea bus noticed what appeared to be illegal crab harvesting. The Department of Fisheries and Oceans team was sent to look into it, and as they approach, a boat sped away, leading to a high-speed boat chase.
Ooh, love it.
Just before Steer was arrested, he whipped his phone into the ocean. He was like, "Nah, you can't have it," chucked it in the ocean. But 2 other guys were arrested at the same time, and their phones were dry and fine. They found out about this sea cucumber scheme through one of these phones, and this kicked off a larger investigation. His home was searched. They found all kinds of fishing gear, documents, and bags and bags and bags of dried sea cucumbers. I'm going to show you what they look like as a delicacy to be eaten.
Okay.
I try to be very open-minded when it comes to other cuisines.
Of course.
I don't think I find them.
I don't like that.
Yeah. But they're also dried and used as well.
Okay.
They are worth about $10 a pound raw or $100 a pound dry. And financial evidence showed that Scott Steer made over $1 million off of nearly 40,000 kilograms of sea cucumber.
That's so many sea cucumbers.
Who knew that the poaching of sea cucumbers was such a lucrative black market business? Since 2008, there have been over a dozen fisheries and ocean files on Steer. He's faced jail time, a ban on fishing in Canadian waters, and thousands of dollars in fines. He was brought up at an early age, as young as 6 years old, when he was on his father's vessel and learned how to do things the wrong way. He is undoubtedly one of the, if not the biggest poacher the province has.
Dang.
So he is actually facing some serious jail time. So we're waiting to see what happens to Scott.
Do we know how much?
I'm not sure yet, just because this is so fresh.
It's a lot of money, so I feel like that would carry a pretty hefty sentence.
Yes. I believe the trial is still ongoing.
Ooh,
so
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the cucumbers in the drying process. maybe if you've tried them, someone out there,
Yeah.
let me know what that's about. Let me know if they're good, if they are a delicacy, because again, I have so much appreciation for food in general. So I love trying new things. But there are things from different cultures where even like people from that culture are like, no, dude, we don't even eat this.
I have become much more open-minded towards trying different foods over the last year. And I feel like there's certain things I would definitely try.
Mhm.
I'd try it. I think I would.
You know what it comes down to is texture and smell.
Yes.
If it comes to me and it's already like smelling weird, that's a really, really hard thing for me personally to
I
get
couldn't eat
over.
something stinky.
And if I put it in my mouth and it's not feeling like it's supposed to feel, there's just simply no way that I'm going to continue this process.
That's fair.
So, yeah, sea cucumbers.
I grew up eating some weird stuff, just like culturally.
I mean, I'm
And
British, so
yeah, I grew up with one of the reasons I was a vegetarian from such a young age, I'm not anymore, but I was, is my dad had a good friend who was a butcher.
Mhm.
And little me, I think I talked about this
Oh,
before.
I think
I'd
you
go into
did.
the freezer looking for some popsicles, and I would just see like a skinned goat's head
Yep.
in the freezer with
Eyeballs
the eyes.
looking.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Oh.
And I mean, that is one thing I could never get past because my mom would be like, "Oh, eat the brains; it makes you smart." And I'm like, "I'm smart enough, thank you."
No, I mean, obviously a product of its time, but we watched Indiana Jones Temple of Doom
Mhm.
where they eat the monkey brains. Probably incredibly culturally insensitive, but I was just like, brains? Absolutely not. Absolutely
I
not.
draw the line at brains.
100%.
I'm gonna take it to much more morbid and tragic.
Okay, good.
Route
Because
now.
at least my last story is fairly wholesome.
Okay,
So
we'll need it.
we'll have a dip and then we'll have a rise.
So this is ongoing as well.
Okay.
A man allegedly used a paranormal meter
Okay.
and then killed his girlfriend thinking she was going to kill and eat him.
Wow.
So a 46-year-old man is going to be heading to trial right away here because he was worried that she was going to kill him and eat him.
Oh,
So he
wow.
shot her.
Oh.
His name is Jared Wolf, and he is going to be
Sorry, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm just laughing because that's Cody's last name too. So
you should ask some questions.
I guess so.
He is accused of killing his girlfriend of 7 years, and the charges are aggravated assault with attempts to cause serious bodily harm, aggravated assault with attempts to cause bodily harm with a deadly weapon, simple assault, and recklessly endangering another person.
Jeez.
Earlier that day, they had smoked some marijuana with 2 other people,
Okay.
and he was brought into custody that same day. He said they were unsure of what exactly they smoked, but he thought it was weed.
Oh
And
no.
now he got high,
Yeah.
got his handy dandy paranormal meter, and he went up to a statue and decided to start checking it for energy. And he received a high reading of paranormal activity, which made him feel scared.
No kidding.
He believed that one of the 2 other friends was, this is a quote, trying to put a white rag with something on it over his mouth with the intent to harm him. He then became convinced that his girlfriend and the other 2 men were trying to kill him and eat him, so he panicked and ran out of his house to get his handgun out of his vehicle.
Oh no.
He loaded the gun and shot her as she opened the car door.
Jesus, guy.
His arrest affidavit says that he drove to his brother's house following the shooting. The brother took the gun away from him and called the police.
Oh, thank goodness.
They went to the house, and the brother showed officers that he had hid his gun under the couch and that he had also brought out his own firearm when his brother showed up holding a 9mm handgun.
Fair enough.
Once in custody, he said that he was too messed up to render aid to her after he shot her, and therefore she died. They went to the home where they had been smoking, and they found a large amount of suspected synthetic marijuana and multiple smoking devices. They then located a gun and the paranormal reader in his vehicle.
Woof.
The defense attorneys are saying that there's a possibility they're going to cite mental illness as the reason for the shooting. But the county district attorney is saying that he is not going to be seeking the death penalty on this one.
I mean, it does seem like a case of he was hit with something he wasn't expecting. He was clearly tripping balls and having a major paranoid episode. But good God.
Yeah.
What a horrific way. You know, you think you're smoking some pot with friends and then it ends up like this.
Yeah.
Jeez. You don't hear often about like synthetic marijuana.
I don't hear anything good about it.
No, I've never heard a good thing. I feel like every time we bring it up, it's to do with a story like this.
Yeah, because you don't know what it is.
No. I mean, I will consider us very lucky here. I mean, it hasn't always been legal, but since 2018, marijuana is legal in Canada. So, you know, I mean, I'm a fairly new weed smoker in the grand scheme of things, like only in the last few years, as long as it's been legal. So I've never had the experience of like having a dealer, you know, like meeting up with a guy on a Saturday night in a parking lot or whatever have you. So like in that sense, we have access to safe drugs,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Whereas with synthetic or whatever else, you never really know. And it can be very dangerous.
No, and I mean, it kind of ties back to a case that we covered quite a while ago of the lady who killed her boyfriend after, and she said it was because of the weed, and she got, barely any time because of it, which is ridiculous. But I'm curious to see where this is going to go, because I mean, it's just such an odd case, and the whole like paranormal aspect to it. I mean, when you're getting that kind of high, maybe just like stay away from ghosts.
I was going to say good vibes only. You want like your blanket fort, and you want a comforting movie on.
Yes.
You want to chill with your friends, having a good time. Like, I think unfortunately, when it comes to psychedelics and stuff like that, not that I can speak from personal experience, genuinely, I've never tried. But from what I understand it's the second that little vein of negativity comes into, your brain can sometimes really grab onto it. And that's what ends up in a bad trip, right? So positive vibes only. Maybe don't mess with the paranormal when you're on drugs. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Ugh, I feel sorry for everyone in that situation,
I know,
to be honest.
It's just terrible.
Well, to bring it back up to a more wholesome note, this is just the story of a very special dolphin, actually. Ooh. I know we've been doing animals a lot lately. And
I'm into it.
They've had kind of a sad vibe. This, I promise, is very wholesome.
Okay, good, because I know dolphins can be not just the good guys.
No, not always. But this is the story of Pelorus Jack. And he was or I shouldn't say they were actually not sure of the gender of this particular dolphin, but they were a Risso's dolphin. And he lived, they think, they discovered him in 1888, and he did disappear sometime, I'm going to say again, the sex is unknown, but disappeared sometime around April 1912. And the reason this dolphin was special was because he would lead ships through a particularly treacherous pass.
Aww.
This sounds like something from a Disney movie.
It does. I love him.
Now, a Risso's dolphin, they're not kind of like the flipper dolphin that you would think of.
Okay.
They're of a slightly different species. They look more like they have in common with like a beluga whale. They kind of have a big round head instead. This is a drawing that was done of Pelorus Jack in 1909. I mean, it's a very, very, you can look it up on Wikipedia, but it's a very, very simple pencil drawing.
This little fish guy.
He guided ships by swimming alongside of them for 20 minutes at a time. He was so reliable to the sailors in the area that if their ships came up to this particular strait that was perilous and they did not see the dolphin, they would wait for him.
Wow.
They would not enter this particular strip, which was called the French Pass. So initially they thought that it was the Pelorus Sound that they led him through, hence his name. But they actually think that it came from I guess a Pelorus is a type of old ship navigational gear.
Okay.
And obviously because he used to lead them through, that's what they named him. So he was first seen around 1888 when he appeared in front of the schooner, which was called the Brindle. And he literally was bobbing up and down in front of the ship. Now, initially, because it was the days of old sailing, the sailors wanted to harpoon and eat him.
Yes.
But it was actually one of the wives on board that convinced them not to.
Had a girl.
And when they didn't, he led them through very perilous waters. And so, to their amazement, he continued to guide these ships. And they said that no shipwrecks occurred when Jack was present. Many sailors and travelers saw him, and he was mentioned in local newspapers and depicted in postcards. In 1904, someone aboard the SS Penguin tried to shoot at him with a rifle. They missed. And despite this attempt on his life, he continued to help ships. But according to the legend, he no longer helped the Penguin, which shipwrecked in the Cook Strait in 1909.
Oh my goodness.
Now that is just the legend.
I like this legend. I'm gonna believe it.
Everywhere I looked, it is mentioned that he no longer helped the Penguin after they shot at him. Following this shooting incident, a law was proposed to protect him. He became protected by order in council under the Sea Fisheries Act on the 26th of September 1904, and he remained protected by that law until his disappearance in 1912. It is believed that he is the first individual sea creature protected by law in any country, and it was actually New Zealand that put this law out. Now, some people sadly thought that he disappeared because maybe someone else harpooned him. But they think because of his age, he was quite an old dolphin. And the reason they knew this is because apparently as they age, Risso's dolphins, they start out kind of like a gray color. And they seem to, as they age and just through the the tragedies of life and getting scarred up by different things, they go from gray to white. And it almost looks like they're like stretch marked.
Aww.
And Pelorus Jack had a fully white head and then sort of lined back into the gray. And they thought because of this that he was already quite old when he started helping people. So, and I'm going to choose to believe this, they do believe that he simply passed away of old age. So yeah, Pelorus Jack was a Risso's dolphin that helped ships just for funsies.
I love him.
Yeah. Now, just as a last thought, so, and please forgive me with my pronunciation here, but Kipa Hemi Phairo, who is a Koma Tua, which is a Maori elder, he reported in 1913 of being very positive in his belief that Pelorus Jack was the self-same fish of ancient days, that he was a sea god or Taniwha who had guided his ancestors through the Cook Strait and North Island to settle in the South Island.
I love this.
So he thought that he was a reincarnation of a Maori sea god, and I think that's fucking fantastic.
That's amazing.
So yeah, Pelorus Jack.
Off topic, but kind of on. One day in the future, I really want to cover the experiments done with dolphins and people, because it gets dark real fast.
It sure does.
And it's honestly, it's been on my list for a while, and I think we're gonna talk about that soon.
Absolutely. I mean, if it's the same thing you're talking about, I believe there were, at the very least, rumors of the Soviets during World War II putting like mines on dolphins and things like that. So yeah, very, very dark.
And there was also a woman who engaged in sexual intercourse with dolphins to prove something. I don't know. We'll look into it, but it's kind of crazy.
We'll look into it so you don't have to, but please listen to that episode anyway. Alrighty, well, I think we're at the time of the episode where it is time to talk about our strange and unusual death.
This is a nightmare.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I mean, it sounds pretty much a given when we're talking about strange and unusual deaths, but I promise you, they're really not all this bad.
This is just like one of those things that's, you'll hear it. It's a worst case scenario.
Oh God, let's get to it.
This is a few years ago, and the article reads, one man is dead and another is injured after a large sinkhole formed suddenly beneath an in-ground pool at a venue located in the village of Karmeh Yosef in Israel.
Oh my God.
The man in question was 32-year-old Khalil Kim Hee. He was attending a private work event held by a company that rented the space for their employees.
Oh no.
There is a video of the incident. which is horrifying.
Oh, God.
It shows the sinkhole quickly pulling water and pool floats inside as swimmers attempted to escape the trap.
This is, you're not wrong, truly nightmarish.
It really, really is. So, one of the lifeguards who worked at the party told Israeli news site Ynet that at around 2 p.m. their time, a vortex appeared in the pool. She told them that she screamed for the people to exit the pool, but they stayed.
Oh, no.
She said that what she thinks happened was that people thought she was joking and that it was a game and that they didn't realize that they were in danger.
Oh, God. Well, I can see it. You know, you're messing around. It's a pool party. A vortex appears. I mean, guys, if a vortex appears, maybe evacuate.
Yes. If you're in a pool and someone tells you get out, just trust them. You can get back in.
Absolutely.
It's okay.
Yeah. If at the at the very least, someone just took a dump in the pool and you should fucking evacuate the area. And at the very most, a sinkhole is opened.
So after she started warning people, just seconds later, the ground dropped and she said it looked like a giant sinkhole.
Oh, God.
And she says, I saw two people. Two people were missing, one who we could not locate and one who was seen among the rubbles from above. My first instinct was to try to get inside, but there was no option to go inside, so they called the rescue services. She says, it was a matter of seconds. It's not something that looks ordinary. That's why I realized it's some kind of unusual event that I don't normally see in pools.
Wow.
They go on to say just kind of like what a sinkhole is.
Mm-hmm.
She says, basically, this means when it rains, all of the water stays inside the sinkhole and typically drains into the subsurface. And what happens is when water from rainfall seeps down into the soil, the rocks begin to dissolve, which creates underground spaces and caverns. And the land stays intact for a period of time, but the underground spaces get bigger and bigger.
Right.
And eventually there's not enough support for the land. And then there is a sudden collapse. Sinkholes are terrifying because they just happen.
You see them on like dash cam videos all the time. I mean, for some reason they open a lot under roads, which is concerning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope you just knock on wood that the city you live in has good infrastructure.
Yeah.
But like she says, if it's just to do with rainfall or the way that the system drains, I mean, they're literally a nightmare ticking time bomb just waiting to happen.
There's pictures of the pool and you can see because it kind of caved in on itself.
Yeah.
But they could see where the sinkhole started and it's just this
giant hole.
Up. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, when your number's up, I guess your number's up because whoever thinks, yes, that's how I'm going to go.
And out of all the ways that you can die in a swimming pool, you wouldn't think it's going to be getting sucked into a hole.
Of all
underground.
The swimming pool related deaths, sinkhole was not even on my top 100.
No, not at all.
Oh, poor guys.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Just terrible. If you have a strange and unusual death that you would like to nominate, email us at thegrimcurriculum@gmail.com. And we'll talk about it because I mean, there's never a shortage of crazy ways to die.
No, absolutely. If it's ancient, if it's old timey, if it's modern, we'd like to talk about it.
Also, make sure you're following us on all the social media stuff,
Yes.
Instagram, YouTube, where we do a weekly premiere at 12 p.m. MST on Saturdays for the regular show. We got Facebook, we have TikTok, we got X, all the things.
Yeah, so follow us. If you want to check out our Patreon, you can also do that as well. We have a few different tiers out there you can check out. The highest tier gets a shout out on our weekly Saturday episodes, and the lowest tier is just pretty cool too. There is the weekly episode reveal. There's access to a Discord, so you should go check it out.
Yeah, and you can get a free trial or you can sign up for free.
Thank you so much for listening. This has been the Grim Curriculum. Extra credit. Bye.
Bye.